Style can be described in many ways. It can be self-expression, cultural, or even everlasting. This story is about beauty, style, and politics, and centres around my great-grandmother Ethel Kerr, who can be seen as one of the earliest black British style influencers of her time. My name is Cagney, and I'm a Londoner of Jamaican descent working at the BBC. Ethel Kerr is 102 years old and was once a local London-based fashion designer and black community figure from the 70s to the 90s. Ethel used to run progressive and fierce fashion shows and beauty competitions in London and across Europe, around a time when not many events like this existed for black women and other women of colour. Ethel was born in a small town called Brayton in Jamaica to a family of farmers. She enrolled into a fashion school in Kingston because of her love of creativity and desire to contribute to the vibrant 1930s music and art scene in downtown Kingston.
I wanted to be creative in whatever I do, and I joined a fashion house, and they would teach me different techniques in what to do, to drape clothes, to do embroidery, all different things.
Jamaica has a saying which goes, "We're little, but we're talawa," basically meaning Jamaica is a small country, but it's mighty and strong. And you can clearly see this through the island's heavy influence in the UK and around the world in music, food and drink, film, sports, and of course, fashion and beauty. Ethel arrived in the UK in the 50s. The majority of West Indians who arrived in the UK at the time experienced hardships and felt ostracised. The UK was not as welcoming as many young Caribbeans had hoped. Fortunately, Ethel was embraced by women in the Jewish community in North London. They introduced her to new friends, her first home, and her first job.
Well, I like dressmaking that much that I tried to get a machine, and that was what my landlord did for me. The wife had a second-hand machine and she gave it to me to use as long as I want. I work in the day, and in the evenings I used to sew little things for myself.
Because of these relationships and the kindness she was shown, this ignited something inside of her. Ethel met her business partner Desmond McLean in the North London Caribbean community. They saw the importance of community within minorities and wanted to celebrate diversity to provide more spaces for women like them.
Well, I didn't think I would end up doing fashion shows in Britain, because I was thinking Britain was so big that nobody would want to come to my fashion show. But we were very successful with it. We put our heads together and decide that to keep the children off the street and nothing to occupy them in their teenage life. She would do some hairstyles and I can do some design for dresses. We used to put on the show just for entertaining the public. So when I design a suit or a dress, the audience like it, they order it, and I'm able to supply it. I get sale to make that dress over or a suit over and over again for different people.
During the 70s and 80s, there was an interesting dichotomy in the country's government leadership. On one hand, there was a strong female figurehead in the British government. On the other hand, it was a government that did not necessarily consider the needs of women from poor and ethnic minority backgrounds living in the UK, particularly within the job market, housing, and healthcare. The need for more inclusive spaces was crucial for women from these backgrounds to be seen and heard. It became a poignant act of resistance.
At the time, young black girls, we weren't seen. I think what she did, she took a lot of us from that space where, we were playing and having fun, but then as we're getting older, other things could happen to us. And it was that time when she sort of just took us and gave us something positive to do, something positive to look forward to, and also enhanced who we were, gave us a presence that, we are lovely, we're beautiful, we are someone. Where we were coming from, we were just sort of really unseen, unheard of, and just there.
There was no black beauty that we could see other than making our own creation of black beauty and celebrating that in the community, because the competition models actually went through the family. They would go from the mini models, the junior models, the Miss Elegances, and then the glamorous grandmothers. And that is sort of beauty throughout the ages of being a black woman or a woman of colour.
Women were seeking a space to voice and express themselves through artistic means. the fashion shows and modelling competitions became an important space for black women to come together.
For me, fashion shows and beauty competitions always have their place. And it's not about other people. And this is the thing, it's a personal thing about a woman and what it makes her feel like. And you know, somebody will say, well, you're up there parading yourself in front of people and so forth and so forth. You're actually up there parading yourself in front of yourself. You're building yourself, you're building self-awareness, you're building something for you.
To be honest, I don't think I actually saw it at the time as being a part of Strong Women. I saw it as this was something that we took part in, we were all happy. And I think on reflection in my later years, I actually understood what being courageous was, and I understood what leadership was. But it was only through sort of a hindsight in how strong these women were in terms of making changes and doing things, putting themselves at the forefront.
Clayton Goodwin is a journalist and author specialising in West Indian culture. He met Ethel at an industry event and was fascinated by her work. They joined forces in the 80s to produce vibrant fashion and beauty events across Europe.
I put on a few beauty contests in the 1970s to protest against the policy of the Miss England contests of only having people who were born in this country. Mrs. Kerr was just somebody I met at functions. She put on functions and invited me as a reporter to report them. And then when I became a promoter as well full-time, I must say she advised me on promotions, and I always, every time I make a speech publicly, refer to her as my promotional godmother. It's very strange to say this, but she always came across as somebody who was the leader of the people that were doing what they were doing, but it's by her personality.
Ethel helped to set the foundation for the body positivity movement. She was highly influential in creating a platform for women, especially black women. However, racism and colorism still exists, and people are starting to scrutinise the impact of Eurocentric beauty standards and cultural appropriation within the world of beauty and fashion. Young models and influencers such as Ebony Davis and Naomi Anderson are helping to reshape the aesthetic of beauty and fashion today.
You know, in terms of her style and influence, I think it was a really great one in terms of impacting upon the community. Because she was so creative and she could help other women and young children and the community look glamorous in some way, shape or form, either by seeing them or by dressing them.
She's given me that feeling that I can shine, I can be anything I want to be. I run a shop now with fashion, I'm always around fashion and art, and I think that all of that has stemmed from the fact that from a little age, I was involved in fashion shows and it's given me that confidence to be where I am today.
As well as touching the lives of many young women, Ethel has had a great influence on my life too. Being a queer person, Ethel has always accepted me as I am and has encouraged me to embrace and celebrate my identity. She is charismatic, has elegant style, and for as long as I can remember has always been inclusive, offering support even when I wanted to hijack her stage to strut my stuff on the catwalk.